to be a high-energy laser that cuts another fighter in half. It's still unclear what capabilities a sixth-generation fighter would have. Some have speculated it could have travel at hypersonic speeds, be able to switch between a manned and an unmanned aircraft, and more. When Business Insider asked AFRL what capabilities it expects a sixth-generation fighter to hold, a spokesperson declined to comment. So we spoke to Richard Abulafia, a military aviation expert at the Teal Group, about what he thinks the next-generation fighter will be able to do. It'll be less about the air vehicle, and more about the accompanying systems, Abulafia told Business Insider. The weapons, those friendly drones, loyal wingmen, the outboard sensors, everything like that, adding that it probably wouldn't have a heavy payload because it would reduce stealth. Obviously next-generation low observability, Abulafia said, and definitely a return to Super Cruise, which we had on the F-22, but do not have on the F-35, adding that there would probably be a return to an emphasis on kinematics, the ability to launch a missile with that extra speed behind it. But what probably matters most is what you might call hyperconnectivity, Abulafia said. So not only are you receiving instant real-time data from outboard sensors, but it's being fused in front of you so that the pilot can work with loyal wingmen, basically unmanned drones that can do your bidding on the battlefield. Abulafia said the aircraft would need to be constantly communicating about what might need to be replaced or serviced, and that all this has to be extremely non-interceptable, with a low chance of jamming, and low chance of intercept. The enemy is going to try to jam everything, he said. Not all of the new technology that is floated around for a sixth-generation fighter would necessarily be beneficial to the aircraft. As for high-energy lasers, it's conceivable, Abulafia said, but getting to that place has taken a very long time and might continue to take a very long time. Abulafia highlighted the potential dangers of such a weapon. What would the range of this thing be? He asked rhetorically. I don't know, but once you fire it, you better be careful. A really good air-to-air missile can go 30, 40, 50 miles, Abulafia said. You do that with a laser, and there might be all sorts of complications since anything in its path might get hit. Abulafia also said he wasn't in favor of an unmanned system. I've always hated that idea. The perfect unmanned fighter is a missile, Abulafia said. If you have an asset you wish to preserve, then having a pilot on board is the most cost-effective insurance policy ever. Now, if you're doing something that involves long-range penetration like a bomber, optionally unmanned makes all the sense in the world. Very good chance it's a one-way trip anyway. But a fighter? Why aren't you just using a lot of missiles? In other words, if you're talking about a $100 million asset, having someone on board is a good way to preserve it, he said. Ultimately, though, Abulafia said that lasers and an unmanned system are on the list of possibilities. Abulafia said that he expects the sixth-generation fighter to fly between Mach 2.2 and 2.5, and that you'll see a plane flying sometime in the late 2020s and entering into service sometime in the mid